It began on Christmas in 1991.
I know that for many of you, these are difficult times, and I want all Americans to know that I'm committed to attacking our economic problems at home with the same determination we brought to winning the Cold War.
We heard the same pronouncement time and time again.
After all, you don't call Russia our #1 enemy. Not Al-Qaeda, Russia. Unless you're still stuck in a Cold War mind warp.
And yet, as Russia's grasp on Eastern Europe faded with the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact alliances, NATO began its big push eastward.
респектабельного характера относительно того, что России нечего беспокоить.
And I'm not persuaded by the assurances that we hear that Russia has nothing to worry about.
Like pieces on a chessboard, the United States, under the umbrella of NATO, picked up the 3 Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, all former republics of the USSR. But 2 strategic republics remained in play: Georgia and Ukraine, and the fight for one of them will lead to the brink of World War III. Pressure was coming from both sides, 2 superpowers vying for influence over the territory. Both sides offer their rote platitudes. The West claims it's supporting democracy and independence of the former Soviet republics, while Russia claims it's protecting the ethnic Russians and Russian-speaking populations within the regions. But let's be clear, these are only half-truths. The whole truth is the US and Russia are each vying for geopolitical advantages. The West only supports independence from Russia, but in regions like South Ossetia and Abkhazia, the West is vehemently opposed to independence. What isn't highlighted in media discourse is the deep divisions of the region that date back to when the Soviet Union dissolved. In the late 1980s, a separatist movement emerged in South Ossetia that sought secession from Georgia and unification with North Ossetia, and Soviet troops were sent to maintain peace. In 1993, South Ossetia approved a constitution that established the region as a republic. The situations in these regions are more akin to civil wars than revolutions. Ukraine is no different. It's a divided country. The western parts of the country align more with Europe, while the eastern regions look to Russia. It's been this way for decades. And not surprisingly, eastern Ukraine has more ethnic Russians. But why is Ukraine so strategically important? It's best understood through the lens of the INF Treaty, which was designed to limit both nations from fielding short-range or intermediate-range land-based ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, or missile launchers that could be used to house either nuclear or conventional payloads. This is precisely the cause of Russia's anxiety over the US's missile defense shield in Eastern Europe. Russia believes the shield can be used for offensive purposes, which is a grave threat to Russia, and a physicist at MIT agrees. It's a violation of the INF Treaty. So while the US was raising concerns of Russia's violations, the US was violating it as well, and likely even the cause of Russia's decision to produce and field intermediate-range missiles.
Russia is not happy. It says the installation is directed against it and accused the US of a breach of trust.
We consider the deployment of such launching sites on land as contradicting one of the key provisions of the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. Thereby, the United States has violated the INF Treaty, which has to be declared openly and without any additional diplomatic expressions.
NATO rejects these claims.
The Cold War never ended. If the US can eventually station nuclear-capable intermediate-range missiles in Ukraine, Russia's response time would be squeezed to mere seconds. Game over for Moscow. So this war in Ukraine is a must-win for Russia, so much so that it would use tactical nuclear weapons in order to prevail. But it may not need to, as it's currently winning the war with conventional weapons. But make no mistake, Putin is planning for the worst-case scenario. It all depends now on how far the West wants to push it. The doomsday clock is at 90 seconds to midnight.